easy. Like you said, half of the team is young. I agree with you. Big up Odegaard, captain, doing well. I would say Saka. I think Saka is our most reliable player purely because, you look at the fact of, I think we got 80 odd goals in the league. And as much as I like that, I don't know for sure. In the same way, if you're Spurs with Kane, regardless of what happens with Spurs, and if Kane stays there, X amount of goals, Liverpool with Salah the same. I don't know if Martinelli's going to get 15, Odegaard's going to get 15. The jury's still out with Jesus. Saka for the last 2 years has dropped double figures. Like you said, he's been our most reliable man. If me and you was to go through the goals, how many of the goals has he scored which have been like decisive moments? And I think his finishing, evidently, if you're getting double figures, your finishing has improved, but he scored a number of cute goals. Last game of the season, I remember against Villa, obviously, probably his best goal of the season was probably United. So I would go Martinelli for young player, Saka for player. Who would be your, I don't want to say underrated, but like someone that isn't really, because it's easy for us to sit here and say Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, they play in attacking positions. It's easy, isn't it? They're going to be part of the highlights. So like underrated performer, really, because I'm going to say mine, I'll go Gabriel, because people are always there when he makes mistakes and no man's perfect. But I think he's done very well, if I'm honest. So I'd probably throw that to Gabriel. I might even say Partey, because I know when we've hit the tail end of this season, everybody, you've seen it yourself, not a single player has been safe by Arsenal fans. But I think Partey's been as fit as he probably has been, really, really and truly. So you could say Partey. Again, even that, you could actually say Granit Xhaka. I'm going to go Gabriel, though. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think the answer is Gabriel as well, mainly because he was getting so much flack at the start of the season. Like, Saliba's here and Gabriel's down here. And
it's like a shiny new toy, yeah.
Yeah. So I think Gabriel actually is the answer. But, you could also go Ben White because he doesn't really get much of his flowers.
Shout as well.
And, he's been so important to the team. He started most of our games. And then, you mentioned Granit Xhaka, 7 goals, 7 assists, very underrated. What he does for the team. And I think fans will realise next year in some tough moments.
We're going to miss him.
We're going to miss his experience. You're going to miss a player like his character as well. Xhaka deserves the praise. Obviously, Partey you mentioned as well. I think Gabriel Jesus towards the end of the season, and I know a lot of fans don't think he's an out-and-out goal scorer, but 11 goals, 6 assists, and he missed 4 months with injury. And how he's elevated the Arsenal attack. I'd go Gabriel still, but I think Jesus deserves a mention as well.
I agree with you. I think, it's dumb because ultimately we need our striker to score goals. And I would say for Jesus, he's been a fantastic player. Like his impact goes beyond goals. But fundamentally, we needed a goal scorer. And that's probably been the one thing against his career. Like I remember when he signed and I was, we know who Gabriel Jesus is, but you do your research, you try to learn about the player. I just found that anytime he was talked up by the Brazilian national team gaffer at the time, Pep Guardiola, they spoke about the things we're waffling about now, but they don't describe his goal scoring ability. Like he's been described as a defensive forward, and I think we need all of that. Big up Eddie and Ketia for deputizing for him, but I think Jesus has been good. Didn't plan on asking you this, but now that you say it, obviously from August till now, we've obviously signed Trossard, Jorginho, Kirill, Jesus, Zinchenko. Forgive me if I'm missing anyone else out. Who'd be a player of the season? Signing of the season.
Signing of the season. Zinchenko, because again, there's I want to give praise to everyone because most of our signings have been good, but you have to give this guy's flowers. I've seen this whole, he's not the best defensively, but Mikel Arteta is not building a system. Yeah, he's not building a team to defend first. Yeah, you want to be good defensively, but it's to attack first. It's to control games, and Zinchenko allows Arsenal to control games better. That's why even next year you might have Kivior here and there, you might have someone else there, but Zinchenko will start most of the games because most of the games Arsenal will want control, and this guy will give it to you. And there's very few profiles like him that are able to progress the ball consistently into the final third. His numbers are up there like a midfielder, and you got that as a left back. So again, he's another one of the Arsenal level raisers. Him, Jesus, Saliba were all like almost new signings, right? They came in and they took Arsenal from a team that was not quite top full level to a team that was, maybe title contention. And if they had stayed fit, like if Saliba had stayed fit, I think Arsenal would have won the league title. So I think Arsenal were there and thereabouts anyways. But I go Zinchenko mainly because of how much he raised the level on the left-hand side.
It's a good shout, man. To go back to the underrated comment, not that he would win it, but I have to just throw special praise to Reece Nelson. In your little minutes, okay, you look like you found a little role for yourself. So just hail you up. I'm torn, man. Do I go with the Brazilian bias? As you know, I'm a Sunday League fullback as well. Do I go with Zinchenko?
You see, you've got all the options here. That's a good sign. It's not
exactly with good problems. There's been the theme this year for us. I'm gonna go Zinchenko.
Over the past year would have easily been player season Saka, young player Saka, everything Saka. right?
To the
Now
point
you've got
where the
options.
club, yeah, you're right. The club probably they probably know it's Saka player of the year. They probably thought, let's just give it to someone else with the greatest of respect to Martin
It
Odegaard.
was like remember the whole PFA, no, the month player of the month award went to
Yeah.
Gabriel, then Saka. That's what it was. Now we've got options now. It's good.
Good problems, man. Good problems. Obviously, we're kind of going through the season. We can't not talk about the manager. What is your feelings on Mikel Arteta? And what do you feel he's doing good? And obviously, unless you're winning Premier League after Premier League, there's evident areas of improvement. What improvements would you like to see specifically from the manager?
I think areas of improvement is definitely being a bit more proactive in games. I think sometimes he's a bit like Arsene Wenger. He trusts his players too much, and that's a good sign, by the way. You know, you want to trust your players,
Well, it's
but
a double-edged sword, yeah.
in certain games, you need to be ruthless. You need to go like, okay, this player isn't working out. I need to change this now. And we've seen Guardiola do that. You see him make subtle little adaptations, and Arteta will do that as well. By the
You
way,
saw it
and
with
I don't
Bernardo
expect,
Silva against
yeah,
us when he moved in from left back to right wing,
exactly.
to echo your point, yeah.
You've got to sometimes admit that my initial plan is wrong, and
Well, be
sometimes I think
humble
he's
to admit it, yeah.
Sometimes I think he just thinks his system is so elite that it will make a chance, it will do something, and most of the time it does, by the way. But I think sometimes in those certain games where it is going against us, he needs to be a little bit more pragmatic at times, and especially next year in the Champions League, you can't play your style of football and win games like that. You have to be pragmatic, and that's where I think Arteta needs to slightly just adapt his game, less of an improvement, more of an adaptation.
I'm with you, man. And as I said, what do you think? If you had to say one good thing, because me and you, the whole episode could be about what Arteta is doing well. If you had to hone down on one thing that Arteta has done well this season, what would you say?
I would say accountability. Every time we've lost the game, he's always been the first to go, no, it's my fault first. So he knows everything that he needs to improve upon. We talk about it all the time, and fans will say this and that, but he knows more than anyone because he's looking at himself in a different standard. And I think that is what I like the most. He's always accountable. You rarely see him throw his players under the bus. He always say, listen, it's my fault, I will improve. And then maybe behind the scenes, he is having a go at the players, but he keeps that behind the scenes.
Facts.
And we've seen Frank Lampard throw his players under the bus. It's not a good thing. You want these players, that the players will look at that and they'll feel protected. And they like that. They like the whole, this guy is my manager, and they want to play for him more and more.
For me, it's a double-edged sword because I think this is a good thing and a bad thing. Unpopular opinion, out of all the things, as you said, accountability, he's clearly a good man manager. He's able to provide that spark to players, channel them in different ways. We've seen it in the all or nothing. He'll try crazy ideas like light bulbs and all of these things. Things are great from Arteta. We're scoring a lot of goals. I don't think we're where we need to be defensively, but we've improved. I would say the same good thing and it's the same bad thing. Unpopular opinion, I like the fact that for the large majority of the season, he's kept the same players. He's kept the same players because there's been times, obviously, he hasn't always had his players, all of that sort of stuff. But you can't have consistency in the Premier League if, even City don't do it. It's not 22 different players in the next two games. We the Xhaka and Partey, the Saliba and Gabriel. Not that there's many options, but relationships are being built. I would also extend that to a negative because once you start getting to the end of the year, the beginning of the new year, where all the games are coming thick and fast, as you said earlier, that's when you might need to play a little Tierney against Nottingham Forest, not necessarily be fixated on the inverted fullback sort of thing, and just rotate a bit more. As you saw, you said it as well. Maybe even though I agree with Saka playing every week because we need to win games. Maybe if we could have taken him in and out a couple of times, we would have got a more refreshed Saka and things like that. So I would say that's the thing I love and kind of want to see a bit more improvement from him. And I would also say we're kind of probably seeing it towards the end of the season. But when I look back in hindsight with how it panned out for Aubameyang, for Pepe, initially for Ozil because he was playing under Arteta and allegedly Xhaka who's going Leverkusen.